Hello everyone, this is Mohammad Azam. Welcome to today's session for Nutanix Database as a Service. First of all, I thank you everyone to join this event and giving us opportunity to share something about some info about Nutanix Database as a Service. Before we start, I would like to encourage everyone, whether your friends, yourself, to join this group, which is LinkedIn group, Nutanix user group, Saudi Arabia. If you are working in IT and you have network of IT professionals and you have some knowledge to share, you are most welcome to join this group. What's the benefit of joining this group? You'll have some technical information. You can earn points by engaging and posting comments and proactively commenting your user group page on your own social media profiles. To everyone to join. So let's start our main event, which is nothing but Nutanix Database as a Service, which was formerly called as ERA. So today's agenda about Nutanix ERA we'll see what are the database challenges in modern organizations, and we'll introduce Nutanix ERA. We'll talk about this product, and we'll see how we can provision databases with multiple engines, whether it's Oracle, SQL. Multiple database engines can be deployed within Nutanix ERA in just one click. We have also copy data service, where you can have multiple copies of your databases. You can clone the database. You can have snapshot of your database. You can like clone your production database exactly to the development, and you can perform your development operations there. It's all just one click. Next, we'll be discussing about the patching. The patching of databases, it's a cumbersome task, especially for the DBA admins. So how ERA will automate and make it easy to deploy the patches. Lastly, we'll see the integration and visibility with APIs. And finally, we'll see the demo, how to deploy a database, how to deploy a clone, and how to patch the databases. So what's the traditional database provisioning process? No database is requested by a development team or a test team. They request a database that will go to the database admin, which will redirect the request to the infra team. The infra team will deploy the compute, the storage, and it will allocate storage, create a network. Then the database admins will create a database, install the database software, and also it has to be protected by database admin. So it's a long task which may take hours, days, or weeks, and it will involve multiple teams. So it's a complex process. So Nutanix ERA will automate and will make the life easy. So it will not take like days or weeks, matter of minutes or an hour. You can deploy a database, whether it's Oracle or SQL or any other modern databases. So modern databases, there is a lot of complexity across databases. You need to maintain SLAs. You need to have specialized IT resources. You have to manually apply the vendor best practices. 40 to 60% of total storage capacity is dedicated to copy data. So you have to accommodate all the copy data of your databases. And 82% of organizations, they have at least 10 copies of their data, the production data. So the high cost of copy data, also it is a challenge. It's also a challenge to have the decreased business agility, because there is a complex database recovery process. There is a complex lifecycle management, which is nothing but the applying patches and etc. So we all have this particular complexity in the current environments, and how Nutanix ERA product will make life easier, and it will also address these challenges. Before we start, I can say I'll have to share this Nutanix report as per the Gartner, which shows Nutanix is the leader of hyper-converged infrastructure platform, say 7 consecutive years. And as per the customer choice recognition, for the 4th consecutive year, we are the best hyper-converged infrastructure software. For the object storage and distributed file system, for the 2nd consecutive year, we are the first one. So this recognition is based on the feedback from the customer, and our rating is 4.8 out of 5. So let's introduce Nutanix database as Era. You know, Nutanix clusters are all flexible. You can scale out, you can scale in without limits. It's also resilient. So Nutanix database as a service which runs on Nutanix hardware, Nutanix cloud. It has all flexibility, it has all scalability, and database resiliency is also done with a self-healing design. We can have in a Nutanix cloud clusters multiple different generation of hardware, different models of hardware. They can all part of a same cluster. We value for databases as Nutanix. We deploy the infrastructure and database in minutes versus days or weeks. Also, as I said earlier, that we can clone a database, production database, to develop in a test environment 10 times faster. It also increases the performance because underlying the infrastructure is Nutanix, which is HCI, which increases the performance of your databases 3 times. We can also reduce the unplanned downtimes by 97%. We also have one-click database DR capabilities with just one-click simplicity. Also, we can reduce the data storage by taking snapshots, which is nothing but a 0-byte snapshots. And also we can decrease the storage utilization. As I said, Nutanix Era will run on Nutanix cloud clusters, whether it is on-prem or on hyperscalers like we support currently Azure and AWS. So this is the architecture of Era. Era is downloadable from Nutanix website. It can be tested. And if you want to purchase Era licenses, you can contact our sales team. So it is highly durable and available in Nutanix Era service. There are 2 options here. At the cost of resources, if you want to go for HA for Era, you can go with that, where you have single API servers and proxy servers in the middle tier. And lastly, you'll have the database of Era, which contains information about the time machine, SLA policies, and profiles. One thing to be noted here, if Era goes down, the database workloads of the customer will be running fine. It will not be affected. So you can go for either single VM of Era or you can go for HA option. It's a matter of choice. Nutanix Era runs on top 4 services, which is one-click provisioning. You can click and you can provision a database with matter of minutes. You can also have copy data management, which can it's like a simple copy and paste in your computer. It's simple as it is. You also have one-click database protection. Just select the database and take snapshot. The snapshot will be taken and you can have a backup of your existing environment. No matter if it is TBs in size, it will be a matter of minutes. Lastly, one of the main component of Nutanix Era is the patching. You can go for one-click database patching. You can patch SQL, you can patch Oracle, you can pass batch PostgreSQL. Currently, we support 3 database engines, which is MS SQL, Oracle, and Postgres. When a Prism admin will register the database, the management plane, which is nothing but ERA, and it will be registered in Nutanix cluster. Then the ERA admin will create various roles for DB admins. So there are some predefined roles, as you see on the screen: database admin, database infrastructure admin, and super admin. Or you can create your own customized roles depending on your requirements. For example, if you want to give a particular DB admin just for patching, you can give that particular role to that user. You can also integrate with Active Directory, or you can use existing local users. As I mentioned, there are predefined roles like super admin. As the name says, it's super admin. It can do anything. Whereas infrastructure admin cannot manage users, but it can do except managing users. Database infrastructure administrator can create profiles, but it cannot create VLANs and cannot register the ERA cluster in Nutanix. The DBA admin, the last one, it can just manage the databases. It cannot create the profiles. So as I said, there is a foundation for Nutanix ERA. It's a building block where you have to create some profiles before you start deploying databases. So software profile is just like a gold image where you have database and operating system, and then you start deploying database server VMs with the software profiles. So in order for the software profiles to be used, the database server, existing database server can also be used, but it has to be registered in ERA before we start using as a profile. The compute profile is nothing but t-shirt size, where you specify the vCPUs, the cores, and the memory. When you're deploying a database server VM, you can select a profile. There are some predefined profiles for compute also, or you can create your own profile. The network profile is also defining what VLAN it should be used while you're deploying the database server VM. Database parameter profile, it shows the database parameter that can be utilized for existing profiles, or it can be, you can create your own profiles for database parameters. You can specify various parameters for Oracle or SQL. There are sample profiles. You can utilize that, or you can create your own custom profiles. Lastly, there is a Windows domain profile that contains the domain information such as the fully qualified domain name, the domain user and password. Also, you can specify the organizational unit. If you're deploying the SQL always on availability group clusters, you can use OU paths for the cluster creation, and you can specify the service account, password, and username also. So you can save this profile, and while deploying database server VMs, you can use these profiles. So let's talk about the ERA provisioning service. Nutanix ERA supports following database engines currently. So it supports Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, Postgres, MongoDB, MySQL, and MariaDB. You can provision database using standard database server VMs, or you can deploy a cluster environment for Oracle like RAC clusters, or you can deploy AAG clusters with Microsoft SQL Server. While provisioning, you can also use some pre and post database scripts. Like if you want to mask databases while after you deploy the database, you can do it. We have standardized catalog for databases. As I said earlier, you can specify the parameter profiles for databases for SQL and Oracle. Also, you can customize the compute and network and database parameters. There are some SLAs. SLA policies will define how you want to have the schedule of your databases. It can be continuously, or it can be daily or monthly RPOs. There are some predefined SLAs based on the business requirement. You can also create a custom SLA. So database recovery SLAs will standardize across all databases. So you can select this SLAs and you can apply on whatever database you like to use. Let's talk about copy data service. As I said, Nutanix data snapshots are 0 byte. Whenever you take a snapshot or a clone, it's just a 0 byte, because at the back end, we use Nutanix snapshot technology, which is redirect on write. So it is a delta disk, which is immutable, and all the new writes will be written on the new disk. So it's like completely a 0 byte database clones. While taking the snapshots, the database will be queues for matter of seconds, and it's like totally negligible. And we can also do a point in time recovery with the log catch-up option, where you can select the continuous log backups and you can go for a point in time recovery. You can restore a database server or database to a new server or an existing server with a point in time. It's just a matter of one click. These are the built-in SLAs. As you can see, there is gold, silver, bronze, and brass, where the continuous retention period is 30 in days, daily retention in 90, and weekly 16 and 12, and so forth. So minimum log catch-up time is 15 minutes. Then this is the least minimum supported by ERA. So you can say the log catch-up, the log backups will be at least 15 minutes before. We can also do a one-click database cloning. As I said earlier, you can do a production database cluster or single standalone server production data to a test and development in matter of one click, and you can refresh. Say you have cloned a database 1 week before, and you want to refresh. Just there's a small option to click refresh, and it will be refreshed with the production database. Or you can schedule it. You can schedule the refresh of your cloned databases whatever time you like. Again, while cloning, you can do a database masking script, for example, and even the refresh of your databases from the production to the development will be a matter of few minutes. Also, we can do a one-click database backup. Select the database and just click create snapshot. The whole database snapshot will be created in matter of minutes. And you can back up a snapshot, whether it's TBs in size or whatever it is. It's just a matter of minutes. Lastly, we'll see Nutanix ERA patching management. You can do patching of SQL. You can download a SQL patch from Microsoft site and upload it as a software profile, and you can utilize it during the patching. Whereas for Oracle, it's quite different. You have to log into the software profile, the existing database server VM on Oracle, and apply the patch, and then you can utilize it as an update. Whereas in SQL, you can download the patch alone, and you can apply it directly on the database server VMs. Nutanix ERA, it supports REST APIs. It is like it can be integrated with self-service like ServiceNow. It also supports integration with one of our automation product, which is Calm. Calm is a product which automates the deployment of applications using blueprints. So Nutanix ERA also supports this Calm product, where you can deploy databases through Calm. using Era APIs. Whatever you do in Era, you can do it either graphically or through CLI or through API equivalent. So whenever you do a task like cloning, deploying a database or patching, there is an option API equivalent where you can copy this particular code. It can be PowerShell script, it can be JavaScript or Python script or curl or Golang, and give it to your database admins. Through API, they can run this command, this code, and the particular operation will be done in matter of minutes. So you can deploy, you can clone, you can take a snapshot, everything by API even. What we do exactly in the GUI, it can be done through API also. Whatever you do in Era, everything is visible. Whether it's cloning database, whether it's patching database, whether it's deploying database, all the steps, whatever the Era is doing, everything is done here. Everything is shown here. So you can do audit trial. You can see what have, who, even you can see the owner, the entities, what is being done, and what is the process being done at the background. So everything is visible to database operations. Lastly, we introduce tags, which is nothing but grouping the entities, and you can search for particular tag for database entities. So tagging is supported for 4 entities, which is databases, time machines, clones, and database servers. These 4 particular entities can be attached a tag value, for example, cost center, department, whatever it is. Thank you. Before I close out this theory, I'd like to go for this particular good news for you, where we have NCP exam review day in Riyadh on December 12th in Hayat Regency, especially for Riyadh IT guys. They can attend this session, and it's a free, totally free, which costs around $200 with exam. So you can register. You can contact me if you want to register for this particular event, and we'll be replying to you shortly. So Nutanix certification. So in this particular training, we'll be providing NCP MCI exam, which is among the top 15 paying certifications, apart from AWS and Amazon, which is NCP MCI, and it is ranked at number 8. So thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, you can put me comments so that I can try to answer your questions, or give me 1 minute so that I can start the demo so that we can see live how to deploy a database. So as you can see, Nutanix database service can be seen on the demo website. Anybody who has mynutanix.com ID can go to this website and you can try our Nutanix database service. You can have hands-on on it. So let me try and show you. So as you can see in the dashboard, it shows how many databases are there. It has 11 sources of databases. It has 50 clones, and one of the main also aspect of Nutanix era. It can space save. You can see 6.6 times you are saving the space because we use zero databyte clones and snapshots. So let's quickly go to the demo. I can go to databases. You can see Oracle, there are 3 databases, clone 22, and we are saving 7.4 times the storage. Let's go to sources. We can provision. We can provision Oracle. We can provision SQL. We can provision Postgres, MongoDB, MySQL, and Maria. So for current demo, we'll be using Microsoft SQL Server. You can go for FCI clusters even, or AAG database clusters, or you can simply deploy a standalone database. Here you have option to create new server or use the registered server. I'll be using the registered server. I can see the sales database server, for example. So this is nothing but the software profile, which is nothing but a gold image. Next, I can say database name is test demo. You can specify the size of the database and parameter profile. You can use a default parameter profile or you can create your own. Okay. If you have existing database backup, you can also use your existing database backup to build the database. You have to specify the backup share location. You have to give the backup share username and password for accessing that. So next, this is about the time machine. I can select the SLA. You can create your own SLA or you can use production SLA. For example, this production SLA, it has continuously backup for 14 days, 0 days for daily, weekly, and monthly. And the log catch up, as I said, it can go up to minimum 15 minutes. So you can select 30 minutes. Next. Here you have the option to specify the tags, department, project, cost center, etc. Also, you have API equivalent where you can get the code for different languages like Python, Golang, JavaScript, and PowerShell and give it to the team which can do the deployment through APIs. Provision. And you can see this database will be provisioned in matter of minutes. While it's provisioning, we can go for clones. And just click refresh. So it's just a matter of one click and your clone of the database will be refreshed. Here you also have an option to register existing database server. Sorry. So the option to existing database or AAG group or FCI. The profile section, you can create your custom profiles for compute, network, database parameters, and Windows domain. You can create your own profiles even. For the time machines, you can also configure the time machine here. For SLAs, you can go to policies and you can create your own SLAs. And in the operations, as I said, everything is visible, whatever is happening in the background. So when you provision a database, everything is visible here. So you can see what's happening when you provision a database or clone a database or patch a database. What the server is, what the ERA is doing, everything will be visible here. You see, it's now 88.5%. And when you see provision database test demo, which I tried to deploy, provision database, down it will show you the information what it's doing and where it is, in which process it is. So it will show everything here. This website is quite slow. Apology for this delay. Okay, here we are. So you can see it is pre-processing, performing validations, all have been done. Now it's in the process of registered database. You'll see the subtask here. You see the database has been provisioned within 2 minutes and 58 seconds. So how quick it is. So instead of days and weeks, deploying a database is a matter of minutes with ERA. So if you want to have more information about ERA, you can go for deep dive sessions on our Nutanix channel, or you can contact us if you have a POC request. You can contact our sales team. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Bye. See you soon.